Hello, BookTube. I've got another fun tag for you. That's right, two tags in one day. And this is the Why I Read tag. This was created by Mike at Bibliophile Escape, and he tagged me in this tag. And I was like, oh my god, I gotta do it. So, I don't want to be too late to doing this. So, let's start. So, number one, when did you become a serious reader? I literally don't know. I've always just been a reader. Um, I don't know. Probably, I think I became like really, really into reading in my tweens ish. Maybe seriously into my teens, but probably around that age. Um, but yeah, I've always just been a reader in general. Two, what does reading give you that nothing else does? I actually don't know if I'm being honest. I just read. I don't watch any other type of entertainment outside of BookTube, really. In terms of what I think reading gives me, it's just different perspectives and different stories that I just wouldn't have been exposed to if I just hadn't read, really. Free. Why do you still read as an adult? And that makes you feel a bit old now, being what 20, nearly 23. But I just it's like my only hobby, literally ever, and it's one of those things where you got to find your your hobbies as an adult. And I'm already put my feet in the cement, sand, whatever that saying is, and it's going to be reading for me. And so that's why I still read, because I actually want a hobby in life. Four, what kind of reader are you right now? I like to say chaotically diverse. I do a lot of contemporary fiction. I do historical romance. Sorry, contemporary romance. I don't really do fiction as much as I used to. But I do a lot of romance. I try to do a lot of nonfiction, whether they're Australian or just general nonfiction, biographies, memoirs, and diaries. I love all that stuff. I also do classics. I occasionally dip my toes into like a thriller, or God forbid, a fantasy, or I don't even know, a thriller. I may pick up. I love my Nora Roberts, but I never really go outside of her for thrillers. But I like to think I at least do a fair bit in terms of diversity in my reading, and I honestly, I think that's the kind of reader I am. At least I hope so. Five, what makes a book worth finishing for you? And for me, what makes a book worth finishing is mostly because I started it, so I'm like, I may as well just finish it. And normally I'm like getting to the point where I am doing a book a day or whatever, so I'm like, I'll just finish it. It'll be like my one book for a day when I'm done. So it's one of those things where I don't have that pressure to like finish it or whatever. So I just do, even if it's not the best. But I feel like why, depending on what the book is, of course, I want to see how the author lands the plane. I want to see how the author, um, a book may start out bad or mediocre and may get worse, but I want to see how can they pull it off at the end. Can they do that at least? And so that's why I I finish books, because I want to see how the author does it more than the actual story, to be honest. So that's why I finish books to the end, or at least I find it worth it, because I want to see how the author does it pretty much. Six, what makes you stop reading a book? Nothing much really. I'm not much of a DNFer or DNF girly, like really ever. In terms of, I think if it's maybe offensive, like if I'm doing like a romance or whatever, and it has like a God forbid a pregnancy trope, I feel like they're not much of a thing anymore, especially in like contemporaries. But if it's there and it's just not my favorite thing, I may um like not read from that author again, but I at least would finish the book so I know what happened. But I think I would just finish the book, to be honest, and just never pick up from that author again. Or knowing actually me, if I'm being realistic, I would give that author probably 3 or 4 more books, because I can't stop and judge them. or maybe just do all of our works and be like, oh, maybe I didn't like them that much at the end of the day. Like that's more me, if I'm being honest. And I just finish books really. 7. Why do you choose books over other entertainment? I really don't know. I don't know why. I watched TV growing up, and I played the video games. I had a Wii. I had a DS. It shows you how cut off I am from all games. I just I don't know why. I think I just found I liked reading, and just stuck with it for some reason, and that's pretty much it. There's no deeper thoughts about that. 8. What themes keep pulling you back? Um, I actually don't know. I'm not much of a certain like this book's gotta have theme, like a certain theme that I want if it's going for like a certain genre. I'm more just interested to see what the author does. I know, like whatever the themes, I couldn't care less. I want to see how the author handles it, and I want to see how they intertwine it with the plot and the story and the characters and all of that stuff. And that's mostly what I like when it comes to like not certain. I don't have a certain theme. I'm being honest. I really don't. I just like to see how the author works with the themes that they're willing to explore. 9. What book best represents you? What book best represents why you read? And for me, that's Ducks Newburyport by Lucy Ellman. It best represents why I read because it's, you know, throwing everything in the kitchen sink. It's, so paranoid, and just the sheer level, just the sheer amount of like jumps in conversations and thoughts. It's just represents me, I feel like, in so many ways. And I just feel like that's me with books as well, because I'm one of those, I feel like I just jump to book randomly, or let alone in conversations. Oh my god. So I'm going to say, for me, that's Ducks Newburyport by Lucy Ellman. One of my favorite books, at least contemporary books. I remember when it came out and loved it so much. I know people absolutely hate this book with a passion, but I love it to death so much. It's one of my favorites. And number 10, the last question. Has reading changed how you see the world? No, really. I feel like it's actual world events more than reading. But that's not to say that reading books on relevant topics can shape my thoughts on the world, but mostly it's actual events than books. And I feel like there's a real certain sense of comfort when it comes to seeing the world, because especially if you do like ancient classics or classics in general, if I'm being honest, you just get to see wow how little we've changed in over 1,000 years. How many countries, cities, and languages have been created and destroyed and rebuilt and restarted, and how little really has changed. And I think there's a certain nice comfort in that, and especially like human emotion too. Like pick up Horace or Catullus if you're a bit more moody, or I don't even know who else to be honest. I'm running out of people, or even I have to look at or Augustine even. Pick up him and you'll see wow, this is still really holds up. And so that's how I think it's more of a comfort thing in terms of how I see the world, because again stuff repeats. And so yeah, that's the 10 questions. Let me know what you think about what I said in this tag. It was very lovely and made me think a lot. So thank you, Mike, for creating this. And please do this tag if you want to. It was really fun. But yeah, thank you so much for watching BookTube, and I will see you next time.